Alright, we're back on sports, and I want to say this now. I want to start off by what happened last week. For those who didn't see the video last week, as you know, there's no sports video up right now because it's been taken down. Not by yours truly, but let's put it like this. Because of what I showed last week when it came to boxing, and I was trying to show you, when you should stop a fight and things of that nature, a specific company got mad that I showed that and flagged the video down. And as you know, you can't stop the internet. So as a secondary, what I did was I put it on another site and then put it on Facebook and YouTube and things that nature, the fan page on Facebook and YouTube so that everyone can still see it regardless, okay? Now, as we know, this was not hurting anybody, but companies like to get salty from time to time and try this. Not too long ago, the EPL tried to do this with my video and tried to flag down, when Chelsea won it all. That video. They flagged that video down, and then they realized that all I showed was just celebration. I didn't show any play or anything like that, and they let it back up. You know what I mean? Like, YouTube looked into it and was like, yeah, he actually didn't show anything. He just showed some celebration. What's the problem? So, EPL yielded to that, and the video is back up. Last week's video more likely will go back up. They tried to claim that I was just showing it for views, just to show you how the fight in general. When I was using it for educational purposes, I even said at the end of the video, I hope that everyone learns something, So it's and YouTube's looking into it already. They already sent me a notice saying that if they don't get back to them, which I don't think they've gotten back to them, but they said they'll put it back up in 10 days. Now, here's the problem I have with that. Because I've seen this happen before to bigger YouTubers, YouTubers who have like millions of subscribers, and they get flagged down by companies, and within hours, they would have it back up. But I have to wait 10 days, which to me doesn't really help much, but it's out of principle, you know what I mean? Because I'm telling you companies, you want to flag me down, I will fight you tooth and nail. I will every time. I'm not going to just kneel to you. That's not how it works, okay? It's definitely fair use. Anyways, I do want to move on. I'll keep everyone updated if it goes up. Like I said, if YouTube's... They'll let me know what's going on afterwards. I'm not worried about it because, like I said, you can't stop the internet. As soon as it was taken down, I put it somewhere else and still got the views. So I'm not worried about it. Now, like I said, I want to make sure that everyone can see this stuff. Like I said, nothing's monetized. Y'all know how this goes. Anyways, I want to move on. I want to talk about what happened over the weekend. And I want to talk about the Flyers 5K. Now, as you can see what I have around my neck, I did the 5K for charity, Flyers charity. This was the medal for it. I don't know if you can see it. That was the medal for it. There's some pros and cons to the Flyers 5K, and I want to speak about this right now. First off, I want to say that the environment was great, as just any other running environment. It was very family-oriented. A lot of ex-Flyers were there, to take pictures and meet and greet with people, just like, anyone else. A lot of hot chicks were there, like, seriously, in running gear, really hot. A lot of people brought their dogs because they were allowed dogs on the course and things of that nature. A lot of people had strollers and, walk with their children and things. Here's the problem I had with the 5K. Now, don't get me wrong. We're already out there in 40-degree weather, and the wind, as you know, anyone who's ever been to Wells Fargo, because you got to start in the parking lot, there's nothing blocking that wind. It's just fierce wind all through. Here's where I have a problem. Because when you get there, you have to park at Citizens Bank Park. And for those who don't know, that's right across the street from the Wells Fargo Center, okay? So there's no lights there except all the way at the corner. But when you're coming from the parking lot, there's no stop signs or stoplights or anything like that. So they didn't block off the street just yet. So you have all these families trying to cross the street with strollers and animals and things of that nature. And cars are like, don't care, still going. They weren't stopping. They weren't doing anything. So there was a couple of arguments trying to cross the street between pedestrians and people in their vehicles, and I thought that was a really bad look right then and there. Now, granted, you still have to let people get. You have to keep that street open because people have to get into the parking lot. However, you have to have someone there, as they do at the games, to enforce it. They usually have somebody, waving people in and stopping traffic and letting people through. They usually have that. And they didn't have it this time. Okay, so it was pretty much, at your own risk, which I felt was kind of dangerous, especially for those who have strollers and they're trying to cross the street. So, we get into starting formation, and everybody's trying to get in first. I was all the way in the back because they had some type of a ceremony before it. So I was at the ceremony listening. And Bill Barber was there. There's a lot of people there. So you're just listening to what's going on. And then the runners take their position. So I was pretty much in the back. So that means I'm going to have to run past a lot of people, okay? Now, starting this, you get to the start, and everyone's having fun, there's music, there's everything, and everyone starts running. Here's the problem, okay, with it. It's not the course, because the course was, believe it or not, the course was really tough. I'll say this for a 5K, because you have these harsh winds, you're running under the highway, which is like a wind tunnel, and the wind, it's almost like, I was a little bit more prepared for it, because I did, the Ocean City one, where, you were on the highway, and there was those harsh winds, so it was cutting out, your breathing, your routine breathing when you're running. A lot of people got around the corner and was like, I'm done. They couldn't do it. They couldn't run. I guess it's because of the wind. But you also have people who were running with dogs in the pack, and that didn't go well either. There was dogs who were snipping at people. There was dogs who were running faster than their owners, and their owners couldn't keep up, so they had to pull them back. There was people who, I guess, thought that they were faster than what they really were, and then when they got tired, of course, you got to run around them, on your left, on your right. So you're constantly trying to change your rhythm while running because you have to adjust on the fly. During the course, there was a lot of glass all over the place, a lot of debris. I guess that Friday night, there was a lot of people down there near X-Men E Live drinking or whatever. But it's all over the road. So for you to be running and trying to do something, it was really tough because you're constantly running around something, you're jumping over something. And I put it like this: if it was like a Spartan race or something where you have obstacles, I could understand that. But the fact there was a lot of broken glass everywhere was a problem. It was a huge problem. All right. Cones. I'll put it like this: they blocked off the entire street, but they still had cones lined up because where they want you to run. The problem with the cones was that it turned people into a single file at times, and you have to understand when you have runners who are faster than others and they're trying to keep their pace, that does not work. However, this old guy, and I say old, he's pretty elderly. He tried to jump over a cone. I guess he was feeling a little excited. He tried to jump over a cone, and he completely botched the jump. And he face planted right on the ground, and he just laid there. And a lot of us had to stop running and help him up because he was hurt really badly. He was hurt, but he continued. But still, to see that was like, wow, that's kind of messed up. So during the run, usually, and here's the thing, I think that the Flyers 5K could improve upon. When they're at the water stations, all right, they're handing out bottles of water, which is number one. You don't hand out bottles of water. You don't. All right. Take a cue from Ocean City. You have a number of people there who are cheering on, but at the water stations, they're handing you Dixie cups of water. Why? Because nobody wants to run with a bottle of water in their hand. It's just excess weight when you're running. So now that you have a bottle of water, you got to think, it's what, half a pound probably, depending on the bottle size they give you. So you're running with nothing in your hands, and then all of a sudden you have this bottle of water, you have this grip going, and then you just have to worry. And then you have to try while you're running, try to open it up and drink and carry on, because you're not supposed to stop during a run. So, you know what I mean? So trying to run and drink at the same time and keep your pace and keep your breathing can be kind of tough for some people. Personally, I felt as though the bottle was unnecessary. Because they have three different water stations. So if you skip the first water station, by the time you get around to the Citizens Bank Park you ran around, there was another water station waiting for you. So you really didn't need the water. I think they did the water stations where they planted them. I think they put them in the right spots. So I'll give them that. But the handout bottles of water I thought was a bit much because there was a lot of people who were just like, I don't want to hold this anymore. And before you know it, people were just dropping them. It's not like they said with Dixie cups where in OCNJ, You had a Dixie cup of water, and the thing is, it was water and Gatorade they gave you, or they gave you the little energy, those little gels. So they gave you that, and then there was a trash can right there, so you just threw it right in the trash after you drank it, and then you can just take off. You know what I mean? So it's all one, somewhat type of motion to keep you going. With this is a little bit different. So people are just running with water. A big bottle of water had to be about that big, the bottle of water. So you're running with it in your hand like this, and so it kind of messes up things. However, that's why you should, when I train, I have 3-pound gloves on, 3-pound weighted gloves when I train, so that just in case something like that happens, you're prepared for it. I think a lot of people weren't prepared for it, and it kind of slowed down, it slowed down their progress. The biggest problem I had, and I have to say this, it really pissed me off. I had to say something. At the end, when you're coming back into the parking lot, because you're pretty much going around, sneaking back around, and coming back into Wells Fargo, there's, of course, cones. Like I said, they want you to stay single file coming through the parking lot for some reason. I don't know why. But this guy got so upset, and I want to explain this, okay? Because he decided, instead of going around the cones like everyone else is supposed to get into that, that line and then run through the finish line because you had to go around the corner, then sneak back around the other corner to go to the finish line. This guy decided, I'm not going to follow the rules. I'm going to cut across the entire parking lot to get to the finish line because I want to win. Guy, you are cheating. You're cheating at a charity event. You're cheating in a run, in a charity run. What the hell's wrong with you? Now, like I said, for me, I finished 28 minutes 5K. That means I was a 9.2 minute mile. If I decided that I wanted to cheat, and it wasn't very sanctioned, so if I decided I wanted to cheat, I could have cut across 2 different parking lots and been finished a lot earlier than what I was, you know what I mean? The guy who won, he finished in 14 minutes. Yeah, that's pretty, like professional levels of running. But yeah, 14 minutes and, in a 5K. Could you imagine if he decided to cheat and cut across the parking lot? So it goes to show you that there's some people who are so desperate to either get a good time or try to win. And like I said, the guy, he cut across the parking lot and didn't even win. And here's the thing. I guess he got frustrated because when I passed him, I noticed that this other kid passed him as well. And when I mean kid, we're talking like a 10-year-old. So the kid is like that big, all right? But when we were at the starting position, when we were like, stretching and getting ready to warm up and get ready to run, this kid was next to me literally. He was just chomping down on candy. He was eating candy the entire time. He wasn't like a fat kid or anything. Kid was in shape. But he was just chomping down candy, I guess to get all that sugar in his system so he can just go. But can you imagine a 10-year-old kid hopped up on candy? You're not stopping him. So that kid passed that guy before he decided to cheat. And you saw on his face, he's like, oh no, I'm not letting a 10-year-old beat me. And he's trying to catch up to this kid, and he can't catch up to this. This kid is gone. Kudos to that kid, he was gone, you know what I mean? But it was like, it's pretty pathetic to see that someone would take it so seriously to cheat and go across the parking lot because they want a better time or they want to try and finish first. Dude, you're not finishing first. Even like I said, he didn't finish first. I just felt as though it was very disrespectful due to the fact that all the runners who, like I said, you're there for a reason. This is not about one against the other. And I always say this going into races because you always hear, are you going to win this race? Or are you going to come in first? I never understood that. Because no matter what type of race it is when it comes to a charity or a marathon or a half marathon or a 10K, 5K, whatever, it's all of us versus the course. That's how I see it. It's not me versus you. It's all of us versus the course. Just finish. That's all it is. That's how I see it. I can understand that people want a good time and all. I personally don't give a damn about time. I really don't. Just finish. But if you can run in a good time, then hey, then do it. You know what I mean? That's what you're training for. But like I said, just finish. And that's why you have that support of people while you're running throughout the entire time. They're telling you, keep going, keep it moving. You know what I mean? You're doing great. It's not, oh, well, you're in 100th place. You should just stop right now because you're not going to win. No, you're not. You don't hear people say that. No, they're holding up signs saying that you can do it and keep it going, keep it moving because they believe that you can do it. That's the entire point. And for a guy to cheat, to do something like that, for me it rubbed me the wrong way. So when I crossed the finish line, I told the official, I was like, yo, that guy right there fucking cheated. He went across the thing and the guy was like, well, it's a charity thing. Don't take it too seriously. And I said that. I was like, yeah, he shouldn't take it so seriously, so he shouldn't cheat. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's one of those things where you just don't do that. We've seen this not too long ago. Was it last year, was it? Was it the woman that said that she won the one marathon? We found out that she didn't even compete in it. She just showed up near the finish line and was like, yeah, she didn't run. And was like, yeah, I won. And they had to take it away from her. Like, I don't understand why people feel they need to cheat. The entire point of a marathon or whatever race is to endure. That's what it is. Endure the course, finish the course, and feel good about yourself to say, hey, I did this. That's the entire point. Of course, charity and camaraderie as well, because you have all these people cheering you on. People you don't even know. It just rubs me the wrong way. It just does. So, while I feel as though the Flyers 5K, would I do it again? Yes, I felt it was a great event. It was for a great cause. I felt as though everyone was there for the right, at least a majority of people were there for the right intentions. I just feel as though if you have to, like I said, if you have to cheat, if you have to cheat in running, that's pathetic. Like I said, if someone wants to be the best or say, hey, I'm faster than you, we can run it, we can do a race to the block. You know what I mean? That's how we used to do it back in the day. Let's see how fast you are compared to me. We'll race to that light or race to that stop sign, race to that block. End of story. We'll get on a football field and we'll run the whole field for 100 yards to see who's the fastest. You know what I mean? That's different compared to I'm going to run 26 miles and I'm going to say I'm the best because I cheated or whatever. Or a 5K and I'm the best because I cheated. Like, that's bullshit to me. That's bullshit. And it goes to show you that you really weren't there for the spirit of things, to learn, to meet people and to have a good time. You were there for yourself. And to me, that's just wrong. I don't feel as though running in general like that is, to me personally, is competitive. Like I said, run the course, beat the course. That's your only opponent, the course. Not Captain America, who's next to you, who's sponsored, and he's going to run a 4-minute mile or whatever. I don't give a shit about that guy. I don't care. I'll give him credit for running it, but I don't care to do that. Why? Because to me, it's not about that. You know? It's really not. I feel as though some people really need, like, seriously, if you think that you're that good, may I suggest you start running track. Go to track meets. Do track and field. Go to the competition. You want competition? Go to some serious competition. I really do not care who wins marathons or races. Like I said, you have people there who are elderly. You have people who are running their dogs. You have people there who are running with strollers with babies in them. Do you really think they're there to compete? No. They're there to have fun and to say, hey, I was a part of something. That's what it was about. And like I said, to me, that just pisses me off. Speaking of being pissed off, I want to talk about the Philadelphia 76ers. Last week, I don't know. At first, I thought it was a replay. I thought it was. And then I found out it was a rematch. And it wasn't, because we talked about this last week where the Sixers were getting blown out by the Washington Wizards. Well, guess what? That last week, when they played them again, this was the score at halftime. You know, it's one thing to lose to the Wizards last week by 30 points. I mean, that was disrespectful enough, Sixers. But the fact that you almost gave up 70 points in the first half, 70 points? 69 points? You gotta be kidding me. Like, is anybody playing defense right now? Come on, Sixers. And you expect people to sit here and watch this. And here's the thing. When they're showing these halftime stats, they actually had the nerve to show the commercial afterwards for the Sixers. They're like, yeah, we're 20,000 strong. Yeah, remember when Charles Barkley did stuff? Remember when Allen Iverson did stuff? Remember when Dr. J did stuff? And this is Philadelphia and cheesesteaks and soft pretzels and we got Rocky and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you've got to be high. You have got to be fucking high to think that the Sixers fans would get hyped off of this video package after you just showed them getting killed by damn near 70 points in the first half of a basketball game. You have got to, the recipe for bringing in fans is winning. I don't think that anybody can sit here and debate that. We know that. If teams win, fans come. Whether they be hardcore fans, whether they be fair weather fans. We know it will fill the seats if you win. That's all you have to do is be competitive. Right now, you're not competitive. And it's sad because Brett Brown is still sitting here thinking, this is going to work. This is going to work. This is what we got to work with. And Sam Hickey's like, I got the plan. We're going to do this. We'll just keep tanking because that's what's going to happen this season. You're going to tank again. You're not going to go anywhere. Not like this. And if anyone thinks I'm just being down the Sixers, no. Look at the previous couple. No, I shouldn't say look at the previous couple seasons. Look after the Allen Iverson era. What happened? Nowhere. Nothing. Name me one person that's the guy on this team. We have pieces. Possibly role players. Okay? Possibly. And I say pieces, maybe 2 or 3 pieces. Other than that, you have a bunch of guys who are probably from the D-League who don't deserve to be in the NBA. But you got to fill up your roster. That's what it is. Let's be honest here. I don't understand where people think that for some reason this is going to go, better than what it is. So am I still going to watch the games? Yeah. More likely just because the competition of basketball, possibly to laugh at it too. But you've got to be kidding me that something like this is just flying under the fucking radar. Like this is, I don't get it. I just don't. It bothers me that Sixers fans, and if anyone has saw Twitter, they're just like, yeah, I think we got this game. Get blown out by 30. That's all right. I think we got this game. Starts losing damn near by 70, giving up 70 points at the half. Don't worry. We'll get the next game. There's a difference between being optimistic and just being fucking foolish. There is. There's a big difference. And you've got to be kidding me. If you look at this roster, you're going to sit here and try to be optimistic. You can't be. Like I said, the Sixers need to do, if they really want fans, it seems like they want more fans than actually winning during this process. If you want more fans, like I said, more community outreach. Now, for those who don't know, the Sixers have, not too long ago, put in their program Sixers Strong, which means they go to communities, they fix up not just basketball courts, but a lot of horticulture as well. And so they try to get people involved. They try to get communities involved. I am all for that because I've been saying that for how long? I've been saying that for how many years the Sixers should have did this? How many? And yet they're just now doing this. It just feels like every time I say these type of things and how they can fix things, we gotta wait 5 years for it to fucking happen. It's like if you would just fucking listen, and I know a lot of people are going to say, but they don't know who you are, Van. No, actually, they do. Like I said, radio station, they do. Like I said, I've had this talk with them, with radio stations, and, because they can get in contact with these guys with no problem. If anyone hasn't also noticed, remember how me and Malik Rose went back and forth? Where's Malik Rose now? What? Not doing commentary for the Sixers no more? Yeah. I don't blame him, all right? If you saw last season, he was like, man, that's just bad. Man, they're not even trying. Like, it got to a point where it almost felt like he was being Bob Uecker on Major League. I swore, Malik Rose was sitting in the commentary booth with a bottle of liquor and was just drinking and was like, these guys suck. Just put a pin and a fork in them. And that's what it felt like. Because he started realizing, after trying to be Mr. Positive all those years, that I told him, did I not fucking warn him? After all those years, he was just like, man, that's just bad play. Man, what are they doing? Like, if anyone watched those games for season after season, you could see how it just wore him down. He was so happy and so excited and he was full of life. And yeah, they're going to do great. And you can't get so bad because they're a young team to, damn, they just suck. Like, I tried to warn you. Malik Rose not doing it anymore. They got I forgot who they got. They got some new guy now. And he's so excited to be there. Oh my God. It's just the same thing over and over again. It is. Speaking of things over and over again, I want to talk about the Eagles game. That's right. Eagles versus Giants, as we know, will be tonight. And let me say this now. This is a trap game. It's a trap game. I say this due to the fact that Giants fans, you know that you have a lot of injuries. They've made it known that they've got last week they had, most injuries in the NFL or something like that? There's talk that Odell Beckham Jr. he'll possibly play. They're not sure. He's probable, okay? They're not sure. However, this is how things are going to go. If we beat the Giants fans will say, well, we were injured. We didn't have enough people, and you can clearly see they don't have enough people. You can see all the injuries. They don't have their best guys in. I don't think anybody can debate that. If we lose to the Giants, we're going to hear Giants fans say, ha, 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 we beat you with a bunch of scrubs. We didn't have our best guys in and we still beat you. So if we had our best guys in, we would have annihilated you. Trap game. Trap game. That's all it is. And for people who can't see that for what it is, sorry about your damn luck. Seriously, Eagles fans, this is the time where you can, like I said, I talked about last week and talked about how, we can get to Eli, you know what I mean? And the way he throws the ball and things like that. Yeah, I still believe that we can do that. But Chip Kelly, you have to get your head out of your ass. And seriously, this is a big-time game. We have not won a division game yet. This is serious. This is on the biggest stage of them all. Monday night, well, I won't say the biggest stage, but close to the biggest stage of them all. Biggest stage of Super Bowl. But Monday Night Football. You can't ask for a better night to try this. You can't ask for a better night for the Giants to come into your house and smack them up. That's what it is. And if you don't do that, there's going to be a lot of angry Eagles fans. Because you lost it. Like I said, you can't lose to Dallas the way you did. And that pissed off Dallas. You lost to the Redskins. You lose to the Giants tonight. All hell is going to break loose. It just is. So, seriously, Eagles fans, I'm excited. I will definitely be watching the game. I know there's a lot of people I know that can't wait. They've already messaged me this morning. Yeah, game's night. I'm already ready. People are ready. People went to work that I know with their Eagles jerseys on. Usually they have casual Friday. Today's casual Monday because of the Eagles game. Like I said, this city does not play when it comes to their football. So as far as I'm concerned, this is something that, eyes will be glued to the screen. Don't want to be interrupted, like one of those things. Yeah, we can have our talks on Twitter about the game and breaking things down and showing pictures of what happened and who did what. We can do that. I don't have a problem with that. But this game is very important. Very important. The Redskins, they lost yesterday. So that kind of puts us kind of in pole, I won't say pole position, but it gives us a chance to move up, especially if we beat the Giants. And we need to beat the Giants. This isn't a want. This is a need. Because, like I said, we don't have any divisional wins yet. This is a need. So, this is something I just say, hold on. Put your seatbelts on, get ready. That's how I feel. Let Murray run the way he needs to. I'm not trying to hear this bouncing to the outside crap. Let him run. And if Chip Kelly isn't going to do that, well, then there's no point even having Murray. You're paying him all this money to do what? For him to complain about it in press conferences and for Chip Kelly to take shots at him? Like, what's the point? I don't know. Seriously. I think the Giants' defense, when it comes to their defense, their running game, I think, is better than their secondary. I would say go after their secondary. Use those tight ends more than anything. Because Ertz and Selleck, I think they're going to be open most of the time. Don't use them as blockers for Sam Bradford. I mean, let's be honest here, all right? Sam Bradford, when he runs, and I have to keep stressing this, when he runs, he looks like a 50-year-old with gout. He can't run. It's not disguise. Let him do what he needs to do. Chip Kelly, stop trying to play these trickery games. Just play football. That's all you have to do. I know there's a lot of people saying, well, there's all these other colleges that are looking for Chip Kelly, so he may leave next year if he doesn't have a good season this year. And a lot of people are saying, yes, he's going to go. A lot of people say, no, he's going to go. Chip Kelly says, no one's, talked to him. Michael Wilbon just came out not too long ago and said, give it till December, and colleges will start contacting him. There's a number of people who are making a number of assumptions, all right, about Chip Kelly. Do I feel he'll stay if this is a bad season? I don't think he will. I don't think he will. The man's ego is so large that I don't think that he can handle losing. And I think that's what it is. People are already mad enough that he got rid of all our key pieces. You know what I mean? So, and that offensive line still needs work. Sam Bradford needs time to throw the ball. It's not even about bad decision making at this point. It's one step at a time, all right? We know Sam Bradford, what he did last. Oh my God. Like, okay, whatever. We'll put down the back burner for now. But you got to give him time to at least throw the fucking ball. All right? I can't hear this 3-step drop. Oh, what? You didn't get 3 steps? What? You only got 2 seconds to throw the ball, 3 seconds to throw the ball. That's not going to help anyone. Automatic check down. It doesn't work. It doesn't. Just saying. And if you didn't realize, if you watched, anyone who watched Green Bay versus Chargers, if you saw that at the end, that's exactly what happened. Phillip Rivers was in control at one point, and then automatic check down. You saw near the end of the game, near the end zone, he had, Woodhead? He had him wide open, and he still threw the gates, and he missed it. So what did they do? They tried to come back automatically and throw to Woodhead, and the Packers stopped it, and they shut down the entire game. That's the problem, okay? When you have guys who are hyped and have that, aggressive pass rush, and you don't have enough time to look left and right to see what's going on, that's a problem. It's a problem. You have to have at least, I'm going to say at least 5 seconds. I say 5 seconds because media will tell you if you hold the ball like Vic for 7 seconds or Tebow, if you hold it for that long, that's too long. And if 3 seconds isn't enough, then 5 seconds has to be the comfortable space, right? Has to be. And that's just by, going by what everyone else says. It's amazing because when McNabb held the ball for long, forever, no one said anything. 4th and 20, I remember 4th and 25. I remember the time where he ran the one, was it against Cowboys? He ran the one ran left, and then there was no one there, so he ran all the way back right, and then decided, I remember that. No one got on him for that, though, because, for holding the ball so long, because he was waiting for a receiver. These days, people tell you, throw away the ball. But it was McNabb, and he made a positive play out of it. It was okay. No one complains about it. We see it in history as it's great. Right? It's amazing if you see the flip-flopping that goes on here. But when you don't have a quarterback that has the talent of a McNabb, in his prime, of course, you're always going to have people, just like, even myself, I've said it, throw away the ball. You got to, throw a quick slant, something like, you have to, I think that's the problem we're having with play calling, is that you're not understanding the type of quarterback that you have. So, if Sam Bradford, if you're seeing that offensive line is not getting in protection of Sam Bradford, you do have to make quick plays. You should be running slants. You should be doing square ins. You should be doing screens. You should, you know what I mean? But the thing is, especially with screens, you should be disguising it more because you can see it coming. That's why it hasn't been working a lot as of late. But, I don't know. Like I said, Eagles-Giants is a trap game. We will see what happens tonight. Okay? Now, I want to talk about more just Ridiculousness. I want to talk about this. Chelsea. That's right. We're going football overseas. Chelsea. You beat Aston Villa. Congratulations. You beat one of the teams that's in the bottom 3. Congratulations. You needed that great, that good, pick-me-up, didn't you, after what Mourinho said. And last time what Mourinho said about the team, I jumped all over Mourinho that night. What did I tell him? Stop talking to the fucking media. And what happened afterwards? I'm going to say this now. Jose Mourinho was fined 50k euros and 1-match stadium ban. That's right, for what he said. He was fined for that and banned. Now, of course, he's appealing because he said, hey, that's just ridiculous. That shouldn't be happening. You know what I mean? So he's appealing it. But it goes to show you that if you just stop talking to the media because you just give enemies ammo, you'd be better off. But no, can't do that. It's not about you running, like I said before. It's not about you running. It's not about you being less of a man. It's not about you in general. You threw your team under the bus. That's what you did. And us fans were looking at you like, what the hell's wrong with you? You threw the medical team under the bus earlier this season, and everyone looked at you like, what the hell's wrong with you? It doesn't look right. Diego Costa went out there and was pretty much a one-man army and scored both goals. I thought he was going to get a hat trick out of it, but he didn't. All right? One-man army. Go ahead, Diego Costa. And that's the Diego Costa I like to see, as opposed to I'm going to have an attitude and do all these antics to win, even though I'm still a great player. But like I said, your antics overshadow what happens. Willem, play good. Play good. Hazard, for those who don't know, Jose Mourinho has benched Hazard because he said he needs to work better. He needs to work harder. As you know, Hazard was just, player of the year last season, right? And I've been saying this in a number of videos. Every time I see Hazard, he's not working that hard. He's doing more flopping than anything. And Mourinho says, he's not getting back on. It's hurting our play in defense. We're giving up too many goals. It's not just about defense. If you look at the way his overall body of work, he's not doing really well. There's times where he really should have passed off the ball, and he does. He's just going to take a shot anyway. I understand you want to play hero ball, and you're the guy, but you have to get back to basics. And Chelsea did not get back to basics. Actually, they still aren't back to basics. Just because you beat Aston Villa doesn't mean that all of a sudden we're back. No. If you ask me, you should have won that game. I've said it before. They said, bottom 3. You should have won that game. And as far as I'm concerned, it's a pick-me-up for you, but you shouldn't even look at it as a pick-me-up. That should have been a gimme. But it seems like no one wants to hear that. Leicester City ended up tying. That's right, they ended up tying. We saw, Arsenal just went nuts over the weekend. They're a force, man. They're a force. I understand they play with Watford, so it's like, okay, it's Watford, but these teams still coming up, they still look good. They look better than the teams that came up last season, I'll tell you that. Some of them do, they're playing with reckless abandonment. Like I said, Leicester City really has, like I said, they don't care. I keep mentioning them because if you saw the way they played last season, near the end of last season to this season, it's a complete transformation. Newcastle, not too long ago, their manager may get sacked. And if anyone saw what was being said at the end of before the game, and they talked about last week in his the post-game conference, he was saying, we're right exactly where we expected to be. Yeah, mind you, Newcastle's in the bottom 3. He said that they had an extended preseason. Yeah, that's what he said, an extended preseason. Well, sorry, but first 8 games was an extended preseason. Season started 8 games ago. I'm not trying to hear that. So he tried to say they're tried and true and they were tested. Now their season really begins and they can get started. Don't get me wrong, they won. But you've got to be kidding me that to say something like that. And your fan base is just like, did he just come out and say, it's amazing what these managers are saying as of late. There's no excuse to start the way that you did. I mean, every season you should think, this is a new season, we can beat a team that wins if. It's not just about a talent thing, it's a mentality. If you want it bad enough. And it seems like Newcastle, they just don't want it bad enough. So you know what? Let's look at the standings so far. Let's look at the top bracket first, of the standings. That top 10 are some tough teams. They are. I mean, Manchester City, then you got Arsenal, like I said, are on fire. Manchester United, which I feel as though they're going to falter a little bit. I still feel that Manchester City is going to falter. You got Leicester coming in at 5th. You got, You got Tottenham. You got Crystal Palace. Like I said, Leicester City, and Crystal Palace, right behind, one right above each other. You got Tottenham, who's tough. You got Everton, who's tough. You got Southampton, who's known for the defense at times, are tough. It's just the top 10 are tough teams if Chelsea is going to decide they are going to make a run. And that's going to be very tough for them. So Mourinho, for him to settle for a guy who's supposed to be the biggest winner of them all, and then last time he said he was going to settle for top 4, you got a number of teams you got to get through, buddy. So you know what? Let's look at the other half of standings. Bottom bracket is still tough because that bottom bracket has a number of people who can upset top teams. Like Watford, like Norwich City, like West Brom. I wouldn't even say West Brom as much as Swansea City, but you've got to be kidding me that this bracket is tough. These are the ones I feel, I'm looking at the screen now, these are the ones I feel who can upset any team at any given time, okay? Bournemouth, because of the way they play, okay? Norwich, Watford, they're new, but they still, if you see the way they play with such heart, okay? Swansea and Swansea. West Brom, okay? But those are the teams. You get those teams against top-tier teams, there's going to be days where they just shut them down, and everyone's just going to be shocked. I would really be careful if I'm Chelsea, because you're in the 11th spot. You're just hovering in the center. You're in limbo. You're in the center, all right? So you're being threatened by the bottom bracket of upsetters, and then you have the top bracket, the top 10 bracket, who are killers. So it's if you think that, and I put it like this, is there a chance they can finish top 4? Yes, all right? But Mourinho has to get something going. And just because you sit Hazard on the bench doesn't mean anything. It doesn't, all right? The top 10 will play hard, and they'll continue to play hard. And that bottom bracket will continue to play hard to make sure that they're not relegated. I understand that we're still early in the season, but if you look at these teams, unless Chelsea catches a hot streak, you may end up, I'll say, at the end, you'll end up maybe 6th or 7th if you play hard enough. If you play hard enough. It depends. It really depends on how they, teams falter. We'll just have to keep going by now. Like I said, I'm just saying this right now as the season as it is. Looking at records, seeing how teams play. As usual, like I said, teams will falter, some will rise. We will keep it as it is. I'll keep making updates and seeing how things go. Maybe my opinion will change. But right now, this is how I see things. I just feel as though it's a severe uphill battle for Chelsea. I would rather that they work hard and stay quiet as opposed to trying to be, glorious off of beating Aston Villa and Mourinho just walking around with this cocky strut yeah, I knew we'd win, blah, blah, blah. Are you serious? Have you not seen the way your season has gone? Have you not seen the way you've acted towards your team? It's one thing to have a wake-up call, but to throw them under the bus, I am shocked that the team would just, the team has been like, you know what, fuck you. You know what I mean? You get to a point, when you say certain comments, derogatory comments like that about your team, you're going to have athletes who are not saying, okay, well, he's just holding us accountable. No, they're going to be like, you know what? He really doesn't give a shit about us. And I'm sure, as I'm making this video right now, Jose Mourinho is somewhere looking for more transfers and things of that nature. Chelsea has already told him he can make transfers, but not for high prices. You just can't spend money and say, we're going to get the best people to fit this system and we'll win. I understand that a lot of people have done that in the past. Man City has done it. Manchester United has done it. Chelsea has done it. But that is not the recipe anymore. Especially when you're seeing these teams, get promoted and they're playing the way they are, especially in the beginning of the season, that's not what it is anymore. Because if that's the case, talk to me about, like I said, Leicester City and Crystal Palace. You saw the way they ended last season, and look where they are this season so far. That's not because they had tons of money to spend. No, that's fucking heart. That's what that is. I don't know. But I guess we can talk about heart a bit, alright? Griffin Force flop of the week, that's right. Or should we say lack of heart, alright? For those who don't know, I want you to see this college coach as he flops his way. Flops! That's right. Flops his way for his players. He gets a penalty. He actually instigates this push and flops in the process. This is college football. You've got to be kidding me, man. Did this guy just celebrate that flop? You've got to be kidding. Look. It's bad enough we see professionals flop, all right? And then we see on the college level they start flopping. And now we see why, it's okay for some people that they're used to it now. You know, they approve it. The coaches approve the flopping because the coaches flop themselves. Let's be honest here. Let's break this down what it really is. This is a grown-ass man, all right, flopping on kids, because these college players are still students. They're still kids to win football games. That's what it is. That is pathetic. Absolutely disgusting. You know what? Where do you go from here? Where do you make a rule? Like I said before, you say you make fines. You make rules to stop flopping. But if the program itself will not take accountability for what their coaches are doing, then that's it. You really have to start looking at these programs. You have to. Or in professional sports, you have to start looking at the franchises themselves, the owners. Because the coaches are going to let it get away with it, because like I said, they approve it. The general managers aren't saying anything, so obviously they approve it. So at this point, you've got to look at the actual franchise and say, hey, you owner, there's a problem here. Or hey, you program, there's a problem here. You know what I mean? That's what it comes down to. Now, I do want to move on. I want to talk about MMA. Because for those who don't know, the World Series of Fighting happened over the weekend. And you know what? They put on a pretty good show. They did. It was really interesting to see how things were going. You see guys who have beaten guys from UFC and have come into the World Series of Fighting. I guess, I don't know if their contracts were, taken, people like John Fitch and things of that nature. A number of guys. I felt as though some of the commentary in it was kind of bad because I believe there's one clip I'm getting ready to show you, which is really interesting. They called this guy the greatest grappler on earth. That's what they called him in the commentary. I was just like, and of course I don't have the commentary to show you, but what I'm going to show you is actually pretty hilarious because I'm going to show you the finish. The guy does get a leg lock in, beautiful leg lock, all right? Makes the guy tap. But it was after the match that was great, the fight that was great, because he's celebrating and his corner man decides he's going to RKO him. It goes to show you that people can still have fun during the fight. Even though when you're competing, it's serious, but let's be honest here. When you're competing in a fight, it's still fun, or you wouldn't be there, okay? You're still getting enjoyment out of this fight. And I'm not saying watching. I'm saying when you're actually in it. You get enjoyment out of it. Now, I will put it like this, all right? We have seen over the past where MMA fighters have bagged on professional wrestlers for coming into MMA, have we not? We've seen this time and time again. We know that there's a big friction amongst the fan bases as well. But for an MMA fighter to take an RKO like that, and of course he botched the landing, but like I said, to take an RKO like that, it goes to show you that there's still some showmanship. It goes to show you that you still have to take a page out of wrestling, and I'm not saying just because of the celebration, but we've seen it in Glory. We see it all the time, over everywhere. You still take that presentation where you still got the big trons, and you show the video packages, and they're coming out down the ramp and all, and the fireworks and all. We see this. It's a real thing. It happens in boxing. Where do you think they got it from? They got it from wrestling. That's where they got it from. So I never understood the argument against MMA fighters or wrestlers. They can't really do such and such. It's like you're disrespecting professional wrestlers, but you still take from them. I don't get that. You know what I mean? But of course, it's not everyone, but that's the argument I usually see when, people get mad. We saw when Brock Lesnar came over to MMA and people got mad about it. And then Brock ended up winning the title. We see CM Punk, even though he's injured right now, because that's why he hasn't fought yet, he's injured and he got injured in training really bad. He takes a hell of a lot. He takes a lot of flack from MMA, not just fans, but fighters in general. You know what I mean? And they say you're only here because of your name. And while many believe that's true, and it probably is because he could have worked his way up in Ultimate Fighter or whatever if he wanted to, Maybe it is a name, all right? But still, you're bagging on professional wrestlers, and he always say, because the one guy had said to CM Punk not too long ago on Twitter, MMA fighter, he was like, you're nothing without your script. He's like, you're nothing, like, You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand that. And because the entire... See, here's the thing. They showed the video of CM Punk doing strikes, right? And to be honest, from a training standpoint to an assessment standpoint, CM Punk has a long way to go when it comes to actually throwing a technical punch and being able to strike effectively. He does. Do I get on him for that? No. I'm not going to bag on him because that's what you're there for. When you are training, you are there to improve. You're not there to tear a person down when they're training. You are there to build them up. You are there to show them their flaws and, take that weakness and make it into a strength. That is the entire point of training. So when you see somebody training and they don't look too well, you don't bag on them about it. Well, when they showed the video package, one of these MMA fighters opened their mouths and was like, the way he's training, the way he's throwing strikes makes me look like Muhammad Ali. That's ignorant to say. Because they're saying that's how bad he is. You have to think, all training is about improving. It's always about getting better. In training, guess what? You're going to get hit. You're going to look bad. That's what fighter assessments are for. You know what? It almost makes me feel as though I need to start putting... I said I would, in the future, start putting up boxing videos and things of that nature. Maybe that's the way I'll go about it. Maybe I'll start recording and showing you sparring with fighter assessments. All right? Maybe that's the way I have to... Because it seems like when people watch a fight, they just think, oh, this guy sucks, or oh, that guy's bad. No. Like I said, it's training. You have to assess. And you have to understand, some people, when you hear people say, well, they didn't stick to the game plan, because they said, look, you're bad at this. We're going to focus on this strength and hope that works in your game plan. And if their game plan fails, then their fighter fails. You should always have a good, well-rounded fighter, but sometimes there's not enough time to do that. So you focus on their strengths. You know what I mean? You get to see your opponent, and you get to watch tape and things of that nature. It's a very tactical process. It is. Very strategic. And I don't think that people understand the ins and outs of training. So I felt it was kind of unfair that when you saw CM Punk doing it, because when I looked at it, I was like, that's pretty bad, but he'll improve. Not that big of a deal. You think they're going to send him out there like he is now? No, there's a reason he hasn't had a fight yet. You know what I mean? And have other pro MMA fighters who have a number of fights under their belt talk trash about a guy who's just started training. That, to me, is just wrong. It's just wrong. It is. Anyways, speaking of wrong, let's talk about this. The NCLS and the ACLS. Now, look. I know a lot of people are happy right now. Yes, you Mets fans, I understand that you're happy that you made it to the NLCS. I'm sorry. I botched this, man. The NLCS. Now, look, Mets fans, you've been doing a lot of talking on Twitter. You've been doing a whole lot of talking. You know what? There got to a point where you were talking so much shit during the divisional game against the Dodgers. And then when the Dodgers forced the Game 5, y'all got all tense. Y'all was like, oh, wait a minute. And I'm thinking to myself, what happened to all that shit talking? What happened? And then when you won Game 5, here you come. Now look, let me say this now, okay? Congratulations to the Mets, all right? You are our rivals. I don't like you, but it's taking you how long to get back to the playoffs? And then I say this due to the fact that I see a lot of people still talking shit, Mets fans talking shit. And I don't understand. Look, I understand you're happy for your team, but you're talking shit. And I'm like, but it took you 10 years? Something like that? Get into the playoffs? How about this, Mets? If, because you're up 2 games to none now, right now to the Cubs, and you know the Cubs are going to fight back, right? You know that. Okay. If you make it to the World Series, you still have to win the World Series. Then after you win the World Series, do what us Phillies fans and us Phillies players did, and go back and go back to back. And mind you, we should have won in 2009, but they screwed us against the Yankees. We're not even going to talk about that. But we actually won one. Y'all hype right now because you're just in the NLCS. You almost didn't make it out of the division game. I would say, I'll put it like this. If the Mets lost, if they would have lost to the LA, I would have came out and said, hey, you still won the division. Be proud about that. If Chicago somehow comes back and fights back and wins, I'll say to you, at least you made it to the NLCS and you won a division. You should be proud about that. You know what I mean? Because no one wanted to see the Nationals go. After what Jason Worth said, no one wanted to see them go. So it's pick your poison. Mets or Nationals. Mets win it. Fine. That's fine. We'll see if the Mets, if they actually bank, cash in on this because they're on a hot streak right now. We'll see what happens, all right? ALCS, all right? Now, let me talk about this. I was really upset at what happened during the Texas series because Cole Hamels pitched a beauty at the end. And then his team faltered, all right, in the division game, the NLDS, because they had 3 errors back to back to back. Like, that's not helping your pitcher. And then you pull him, which I don't think you should have, all right? You really shouldn't have, because he was playing good. You should know, okay, he's going to give up a solo home run, because that's what Cole Hamels does. But he's not giving up multi-home runs like that, you know what I mean? He played a good game, and then your team pretty much sandbags it at the end. And you lose. And as far as I'm concerned, you deserve to lose if your team does that. He does. All right? So, as far as I'm concerned, and that was the first team that's ever done it, I believe, in history. First team. So, yeah. So, now we have, Royals versus Toronto. And, you know what? That's a great series for those who are not watching. Both of these series are great, but that's a great series. If you just see the rallies and the comebacks and what's going on, fall ball is the best baseball. I think we can all agree with that. Fall ball is the best baseball. And because I have no stock in who's winning, you know what I mean, at this point. I mean, St. Louis is out. The Giants are out. And I say that because people got tired of seeing the same teams go over and over. We've talked about this before. Season after season, same teams go over and over. So it's something different. It's something new. I welcome it. I don't care who wins. I just think it's great baseball right now. And I think that more people need to start paying attention to it. I'm just saying. If the Mets win, go to the World Series, do what you got to do. You know what I mean? If, the Cubs come back and win, both teams have not been to a World Series in years. So that's definitely, that's a game you should be watching, a series you should be watching. Same thing with Toronto and KC. Like, there's so much unpredictability with these teams because, like I said, we haven't seen it in so long. It's great for baseball, if you ask me. Anyways, I believe I am done for the day. Like I said, I'm going to try and get some footage up of some assessments. Like I said, we don't judge here when it comes to assessments. That's what we do, all right? Like I said, there's a difference between training and guys sitting on a computer like, oh, you suck. There's a difference, okay? So once I get some video footage, hopefully it'll be coming soon. I'll get a chance to do it. And we can sit and we can talk about strengths and weaknesses and things of that nature. Like I said, if you're going to come and act like a dick, don't even bother. Don't even bother. Anyways, I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all be safe. I'm out. And let's go Eagles!